out of apartment 5B.
You're now tuned into the Apartment 5B podcast, where we chop it up about hip-hop, R&B, sports, love and life. Hosted by Kill.
What's good? You are tuning in to Apartment 5B, hosted by your man Kill. I got my squad with me, in effect, as always. I got my little sis back right now. What's going on, miss?
Not a whole lot. Feels so good to be back.
No doubt. It's good to have you back. You can't be mad because I just enlarged you because you was on IG talking about the curls is popping, the curls are curling. So you can't say nothing with that right now. So we there with that. Vern, what's good, bro?
What's up, man? Glad to be here.
All right, no doubt. My brother Vague with that hoodie on right there. What's good, bro?
Chilling, like literally chilling.
Ain't nothing doper than Hoodie Vegas with an Eagle hoodie on. So there you go right there with Hoodie Vegas. So you already know it is me. Let's jump right into it. Tonight we are going to be talking about soundtracks. Now we've done soundtracks before in the past here on Apartment 5B, Dopest soundtracks, everything like that. But now we're going to be looking at connecting the soundtrack to the movie. So a dope movie that also has a dope soundtrack. So for instance, one of my favorite hip hop soundtracks is High School High. But the movie was horrible. Like, no, but I mean, High School High, it was one of the parody movies. Now it could come on cable. I'm not watching High School High. So something like that would not fit into this week's category of, a dope movie along with a dope soundtrack. We're also going to be looking at what happened to the soundtrack. We don't get soundtracks anymore. That used to be part of the fun part of going to the movies, was hearing that what was going to be on the soundtrack. So we're going to be talking about what happened with the soundtrack, where did the soundtrack come from and all that. So y'all know me, I do a little history. So we got 1933. King Kong is the first movie to actually use a full music score. So that's the first movie to ever have any type of musical score behind it, was King Kong in 1933. I did not know in 1937, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was the first movie to actually release a soundtrack to the public. So the first soundtrack was 1937. Then by the mid 60s and 70s, music started being used for TVs and movies. And the legend, God bless the dead, Quincy Jones, was one of the main people who brought black music into mainstream cinema. His hit song, Eyes of Love, from the 67 movie that I've never even heard of, Banning. He was the first person to be nominated for Academy Award for Best Original Song for a movie. So Quincy Jones, as his legend continues to grow, he was one of the first black people to bring music into the mainstream, dealing with TV and with music. First black person to be nominated for Academy Award for Best Original Song. So again, giving more props to the legend Quincy Jones. Now, what I found from the research was, and again, this is just me dipping, so if I'm wrong, please, I don't even have to say correct me because y'all Twitter mofos will correct me. But Sweet Badass Song, which was Melvin Van Peebles' movie with the soundtrack, was from 1971 on Stax Records. And what a lot of people don't know is that an unknown Earth, Wind & Fire actually did that whole soundtrack. So this is Earth, Wind & Fire before they blew up. Nobody even knew who they was. For my sample people out there, at the end of Snake Eyes on Main Source's first album, Breaking Atoms, at the end of Snake Eyes, it goes into this little sample, and that's from Sweetback's Badass Song. The next one that I know of, 71, Isaac Hayes with Shaft. 72 was Superfly, Curtis Mayfield. And the other thing that was huge about soundtracks is that one person was doing the whole soundtrack. So just like with Shaft, it was Isaac Hayes. With Superfly, it was Curtis Mayfield. Cool Breeze soundtrack was Solomon Burke. That was 72. Trouble Man soundtrack, 72, Marvin Gaye. 73 brought you Slaughter's Big Ripoff with James Brown, and it brought you Black Caesar. That was James Brown. 74, Tough Guys, Isaac Hayes. 74 was also Willie Hutch, the Foxy Brown soundtrack. 75, Mark Higgins with Sheba Baby. And 76, I had to bring this in. My man Vern brought it up last week. Rose Royce with Car Wash. You know what I mean? Which was, and that's how those are just some of the soundtracks. I'm going to go through some records later on tonight to pull out, because one of my digging, I've been digging since 93. So times I get bored, I'm like, yo, how do I stay interested? I just start digging for all black exploitation soundtracks. So I'll go through those later. Now, soundtracks kind of dipped going into the 80s. And the person who I found that kind of brought it back was Spike Lee with the She's Gotta Have It soundtrack in 86. I remember it's a jazz, more of a jazz soundtrack. Bill Lee, my mother had it. Then he bounced back with the School Days soundtrack in 87, which to me is bananas. Has one of my favorite songs, of course, not The Butt, but I Don't Want to Be Alone Tonight with Tisha Campbell. I love that song. That was my banger. School Days was a dope soundtrack, but I think by 1989, when he dropped Do the Right Thing, I think that's what really sparked everything to start coming with soundtracks. We had Fight the Power, we've had Guys My Fantasy, just a huge soundtrack and a huge summer. And then from that, we got Boys in the Hood in 91, Strictly Business in 91, Mo Better Blues in 91, Menace to Society in 92. All through the 90s, we had great soundtracks. The 2000s, it started to dip. We had the Love and Basketball soundtrack in 2000. You had the 8 Mile soundtrack in 2002, the Brown Sugar soundtrack in 2002, Idlewild in 2006, but after that, soundtrack started to kind of dip away. So we're going to kind of go into all of that. But Porsche, set us off. What is one of your classic movies that also has an incredible soundtrack with it?
I don't know if this one fits, but I'm going to say it anyway and make a case for it. But I'm going to go with The Show. I know it's a documentary, but that soundtrack was one of the first soundtracks that was actually gifted to me, and it's unbelievable. So for me, the reason why I love it, both of them. So you wanted Dope and Dope. So to me, that documentary is hella dope because of just what it brought in terms of hip hop history and popularity and all of that. And then of course the sheer magnitude of artists that are on that track list, and the music is just unbelievable. So for me, actually, that's the only one where I would do 5 mics to both of them on my set. So yeah.
All right, I'm not mad at The Show. I'm not mad at The Show at all. Number one for me, and I kind of have hip hop and R&B because some of these soundtracks are more hip hop heavy than R&B. The number one I got on the hip hop side is Juice. To me, it's a 5 mic movie. It's a classic. I can't tell. Anytime Juice comes on, I'm watching it. It's like that's a no brainer. And then the soundtrack was incredible. Rakim Knows the Ledge. That may be one of Rakim's dopest songs ever. You know what I mean? One of the times I want to say it has 4 verses, maybe even 5, but I know it has more than 3, which was incredible at the time. At the same token, this was to me Kane's last real song with enough respect that everybody loved. Like that was there. You got EPMD Is Going Down. You got Naughty's Uptown Anthem, which again could be right vague. Like this, you talk about this could be one of Naughty's hardest songs ever. You know what I mean? We don't give KG enough love as a producer. Like just between Uptown Anthem and the Youngsters Cruise Pop, to me that's enough. Those 2 joints alone were crazy. You got Aaron Hall, Don't Be Afraid, which was crazy over the PE. Can't Trust the Beat. That joint was crazy. You got Salt and Pepper, He's Gaming On You. Just an incredible album across the board. Again, incredible movie. Now, on the R&B front, I got Boomerang. 5 mic classic movie. To me, it's a top 3 Eddie Murphy movie. Somebody asked me on Twitter, so I'm going with Trading Places number 1, Beverly Hills Cop number 2, Boomerang number 3 for me personally. 5 mic movie. I can't tell you how many times we quote Boomerang in this house. Naomi knows Boomerang. It's one of T's favorite movies. Then the soundtrack was crazy. It's the introduction of Toni Braxton, End of the Road with Boys II Men, PM Dawn, I Die Without You, Tribe's Hot Sex, Johnny Gill, There You Go. Just an incredible soundtrack to an incredible movie. While we're on it, Berm, top 3 Eddie Murphy movies. What you got?
Trading Places. I've seen that movie at least 50, 60 times, man. I'm gonna go probably Boomerang, just for the aesthetics. And trying to think. Eddie Murphy. Coming to America.
All right, no doubt.
Well, Coming
to
America would be 2.
and Boomerang would be 3.
Yeah.
All right, Veg, what about you?
Man, Eddie Murphy is my guy, so I'm gonna go Beverly Hills Cop, Coming to America, and probably Harlem Nights.
Yeah, another classic. P, what about you, babe?
I got Beverly Hills Cop. Well, first is Coming to America, then Beverly Hills Cop, and I'm gonna go with Delirious and Raw. And I know they're not movies, but they're Eddie Murphy, and I watch those like that's what I get paid to do. Like I watch them whenever I can, as often as I can. I will watch it, rewind it, and rewatch it right then, and like I just love it. So yeah.
I feel you. Delirious is like, I like it more than Raw. And I know I'm in the minority in that. Like, but I love Delirious, man. Like that's
I like Delirious more than Raw, but I watch them together. Like I watch them back to back. Like they're just
Right. All right, no doubt. Vern, what you got for your first joint, bro?
All right. I did have what's the soundtrack you named? Yeah, Boomerang. Yeah, that was on my list, but I'll skip over that.
No. Talk about it real quick. What's one of your favorite songs off that soundtrack? If you had to pick one, what's your go-to?
PM Dawn.
I know what Porsche's is. I already know what Porsche's is, so I don't even need to go to Porsche. Yeah. We all know what our go-to is.
I would say PM Dawn, Die Without You. That's dope. And I'll speak for myself because I know I'm the only person who bought PM Dawn's tape when it came out. That dude made good music. So I would say just lost my train of thought. Die Without You, Hot Sex, and I would say I'm not gonna do Boys to Men. Tony Braxton. Yeah, those would be my 3.
Love Should Have Brought You Home.
Yeah.
Don't just hate on Boys to Men, Vern. If you want to say Boys to Men, you can.
No, we all know Vern ain't gonna hate on Boys to Men. That would have been me.
Yeah, I'm a Boys to Men fan. They're working on a biopic right now. Of course, did you know that? Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
No, I think they are actually.
No, I know they are. I'm telling you. Yeah, they announced it today. But I'm going to pick Mo Better Blues.
Good one.
Very, very, very dope soundtrack, man. Very dope soundtrack.
Man, I listened to it today. And beyond...
Bro, this right here, man.
Just look at that. Look how that looked. It felt good to turn on the TV and see beautiful black people everywhere, suited and booted, man. It was just classy, and from the movie standpoint, playing baseball, because we used to love baseball, man. The relationship between Bleak and his dad, and mom making him play his trumpet and all that kind of stuff. It was just really, really, really dope movie. And from a soundtrack perspective, Wynton Marsalis put his foot in that. Mo Better Blues, Harlem Blues, bro. Cinda Williams, man. She got down on that song. I mean, and you could. So the thing about Cinda, you wouldn't say, "Yo, Cinda Williams could just blow," but you could hear the pain and the passion when she sang that song, man. Today, I really didn't realize the name of this song, but you remember the song? It's called Again Never, and that's when Spike was like, "Yo, Bleak, I won't sell it. I won't sell your trumpet." Yeah, because Bleak couldn't. His amateur was dead, trying to get his lips right. So that one, Love Supreme, man. That's like one of my all-time favorite top 3 jazz songs by John Coltrane in there. Guru's a jazz thing, just spitting the facts on jazz from then to there. Say Hey, and then from a funny standpoint, Pop Top 40.
Pop Top 40 is crazy.
Yeah, so that's Mo Better Blues to me.
The thing I love about this soundtrack, man, is this is right around the time when hip hop was really sampling jazz hard, and I didn't have a collection yet. So all my first beat was all sampled off of this album because this is all the jazz I had. So if I had any of my first beats, you would just be like, yo, this dude just sampled the whole album, but this is the only jazz I had. So, very, very dope album. I had this as one of my slept-on soundtracks because I love the movie. Mo Better Blues to me is a top 3 Spike Lee movie. And I know I'm in the minority with that because there's so many other big movies. But I love, and I think again, my mom's a jazz musician. I just posted on the timeline yesterday. I surprised her at the crib. She's opening the door with a saxophone. She's inside giving a lesson to old men, like old dudes who want to learn how to play the saxophone. So I think just growing up with her just made me love this movie even more. But very dope pick with that joint right there. Veg, what you got up, bro?
Oh, y'all already know what I got. I need it in my veins.
Yeah.
Every now and again, I have this on everything. Well, I have it on cassette, but literally everything. Movie-wise, I didn't see the movie until I was a little bit older. I always saw, bits and pieces of it. And like most people who hadn't seen it or don't know, he's not a pimp. You think he's a pimp, but when you watch the movie, he's literally just a hustler. You know what I'm saying? From Uptown or whatever. And the aesthetics of the movies, obviously the soundtrack, matching the sounds or whatever. Classic samples in hip hop all over this record. You know what I'm saying? All you gotta do is press play and you hear them all. But some of my favorites are Little Child Running Wild, Pusha Man, Freddie's Dead, obviously. Favorite is Give Me Your Love. That's repeat, rewind every time. That's atmospheric. It's atmospheric. It's fucking beautiful. You know what I'm saying? The way it sounds and the way it was used in the film. He's taking a bubble bath. He got meat out. I'm like, yo, this is the coolest scene I ever seen in my life. You know what I'm saying? So and it's on the back. You know what I'm saying? It's for those who wondering. Right there, you know what I'm saying? Player in the tub right there. But nah. And again, now all the karate stuff, look, that was blaxploitation. All these dudes knew karate. But what I liked about it also was like it also has quotables within with the music kind of giving the theme, but there's a lot of quotables there. Some I won't reenact right now. But you know what I'm talking about. The one when they in the hallway like, dude ain't got your money. You're like, what? That's his ass. Like all that shit was just iconic, but musically, like what Curtis Mayfield was able to do with the sounds and how the sounds, and I think this is in general, right? Because even when you talk about Boomerang, a lot of those songs are tied to iconic scenes in the film. So they resonate when you hear them. You think about the movie and vice versa. So that's what I like about this topic in general. And that had to be my number one, Superfly.
Hey, Kira, I forgot to say. Go ahead, finish first.
No, you got it.
I forgot to say. I can't believe you had the audacity to call me by your other girl's name.
Yo, let me explain something to you. I wouldn't even know what audacity meant if it wasn't for Mo Better Blues. Like that, and the way she said the audacity, she had to take it up a little. But yeah, again, Mo Better Blues. And for people watching, we're setting a series off with this where we look at some of these movies and we really dive into them. You know what I mean? So this was kind of just like the intro plate to what's going to be coming, but we're going to be looking at a lot of these movies and really breaking them down and really talking about the blueprint, how like Vegas just said that the music actually went with the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like that the two kind of went hand in hand. And it wasn't just, give us a song real quick to throw on the soundtrack. Like it was really like, and like JR, we were talking earlier about how in the 70s, one person was doing the whole soundtrack. You know what I mean? And that enabled them to watch the movie and really craft everything around it like that. So that Superfly is it, man. And to Give Me Your Love, like, I mean, so many people, Peter's used that, of course, it's on Mary's My Life, like it's just the whole album and even the instrumental. I know I'm not the only person. Beyonce has that joint Resentment over the Think instrumental, which I think is mind-blowing. I think she killed that. I think what she's talking about, I think is incredible. So just an incredible album. JR, what is one of your first joints
Y'all did y'all number one first, or what?
No order.
No order.
Okay, no order. I'm gonna start with Soul Food then. I'm gonna start with that one. Yes. I think the movie was great, and like when you think about a lot of the songs on the album, it fit the movie. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, I care about you. Like I think about them performing that in the, the lounge or whatever. Milestone, right.
Yeah,
so it was his group. You know what I'm
Which
saying?
was crazy at the time, because I remember when that song was on the radio and everybody's like, it's Milestone. And we was like, where's this group coming from? Like, what is Milestone? Like, and then you see the movie, it's like, oh, okay.
Right. And then obviously a song for Mama. That made sense. We're Not Making Love No More. That fit. Shout out to Daryl. And the What About Us record with Total. That, that was when they were partying before, it came out with the knife and was about to cut old girl. But that was that. And then I love the Slow Jam with Usher and Monica. You know what I mean? And when Kenny was dancing in front of Maxine and she had the baby in her hand, and then Lim came and knocked on the door. So it's like, you remember the scenes, you know what I'm saying, for the song. So Soul Food is definitely one for me. That's number 5 for me.
Yo, I'm shocked you did not talk about one of my favorite songs, and I know it's from one of your favorite groups, En Vogue's You Were the Man.
Oh, You Were the Man. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
I love that song.
I'm sorry. And I love Boys and Girls from Tony. That too. So yeah. Oh God, yeah. En Vogue killed that. They killed that. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, they did. Oh, yeah.
No doubt. P, what you got up for your next one?
My next one I have, and it's going to come as no surprise to anyone, Above the Rim. Of course. And again, this was like, God, I remember when Above the Rim came out, and I was so in love with Tupac at that point, because he just like took over, like it was just the best ever. And then of course the soundtrack, like it's so West Coast heavy, and I love that, because I feel like there's not enough like West Coast stuff that happens. Like it's very heavy. Even when I'm looking at my list, it really leans towards the East and not so much the West on some of them. So Above the Rim to me, again, is just dope. I love Tupac's joints on there, Loyal to the Game. Warren G has Regulate on there. Like, just very classic, very West, very fitting, like JR was saying, like to the movie. So yeah, I definitely have that. That's definitely one of mine. So.
Yo, my beef with that soundtrack was Pain not being on the CD. I remember buying that. I remember hearing Pain. It's in the outro credits of the movie. Yeah. And it's like, I'm buying this joint for that. Because, I'm not even the biggest Pac fan. But when I heard that, I was like, yo, this sounds crazy. Copped it, only to find out that, it took me years to find out that it was on the tape. Yes. And not the CD, which was crazy to me, because but by that time it was the opposite. It was like you had to buy the CD to get the extra song. So I never understood why it was like the flip, why you would put it on the tape. We can't forget my joint Sweet Sable off there. God, what was that joint? Puffing on a Heineken, whatever it was. That joint. I love that joint. Yeah, that was the first time that I know that somebody sampled that Eddie Kendricks joint, made famous by Alicia Keys for Unbreakable. But yeah, that Sweet Sable joint was crazy too. The next joint I got up, a movie a lot of people may not have seen, but I was trying to find this movie for years. I would go to bootleg spots in Philly. I would go to bootleg spots in Brooklyn looking for this joint, Soul in the Hole. You know what I mean? Now, a lot of people don't remember this movie and may not have seen the movie. It was about this kid, Ed Booger Smith, who's a playground legend in New York, and it was all about his journey. So I guess it is a documentary. It's a documentary, because it's really not a movie when I think about it. I'm bugging, but it's all about his journey through trying to make it through the streets of Brooklyn, everything like that. But the soundtrack was bananas. It was on Loud Records. Everybody was on there. M.O.P., Pun, You Ain't a Killer, Exhibit LA Times, Cellar Dwellers was on there, Mobb Deep, Common, Brand Nubians, Smith and Wesson had the one-on-one. OC and Organized Confusion was on there. And to this day, I still take credit for A&R in this record. Source's Money's Against the Grain is on there, which to me is a crazy Source Money joint. The story behind this is my OG, a kid called Roots, comes in the WEAA one day to the studio and says, yo, Premier just sent me this beat for Source Money. And he plays it. And we like, nigga, that ain't it. Like, that ain't it. Then this is a 96 premiere. This is not new. And it was just like, nah, bro, that ain't it. And Roots is like, yo, like, you want me to go back to premiere and tell him? Like, I'm like, nigga, I don't know what you gotta do, but that is not it. And then he came back a couple of months later and he had the Against the Grain beat. And I was like, now that shit is crazy. That's the shit you use. And the original beat ended up being for it's on Gangstar's Moment of Truth. God, I always forget the name of this joint because people always ask me what it was. But hold on, let me look this up real quick. The original beat was for what is this joint called? The Rep Grows Bigger. That was the beat. So the original, so Roots came to the studio with the beat for that, and I was like, nah, man, that beat ain't it. That ain't it. And then Preem came back with the Against the Grain, which to me was just crazy. On the R&B side of things, I'm gonna go with this should have been my number one because one of my favorite movies ever, Love Jones. You know what I mean? To me, it's it's the dopest relationship movie ever. I've watched Love Jones a billion times. It's literally not even it's I can't even count. I can literally say the whole script with the movie. I've watched it so much. And the soundtrack was just crazy. Deion Ferris's Hopeless, Lauryn Hill's first solo joint, The Sweetest Things, which is still crazy. The Maxwell Something Something remix that was slow jam, which I never understand why more people never did that. I love that Maxwell did that he would take a fast song and make it slow. He also did it on his third album. I think it was a song called As My Girl. And on the Best Man soundtrack, he has a fast version of it called Was My Girl. So I never understood why more people didn't do that because I thought that was crazy. You got Trina Broussard's Inside My Love, which is what Slum sampled, which was crazy. You got Michelle and Diocello's Rush Over. Oh God, the bass line on that is crazy. Cassandra
Love
Wilson, You Move Me. Yes, Love Jones. Like it, just incredible movie, incredible soundtrack. I love them both. Vern, what do you have up next for yours, man?
All right, so that's two movies and soundtracks that you got in mind. Love Jones was another one, and while we're on it, Escape did a pretty good job on In the Rain. And,
yep, they did. I'm not mad
because I'm real hard on Escape.
You are,
and you're not wrong for it.
And I got a sound check in a sentimental mood by Duke Ellington. Got to bring that up. Yeah. If you know, you know. So, all right, my next one is going to be New Jack City.
There you go.
Yep.
For the love of money.
Yeah. And living in the city. New Jack Hustler. Ice-T. Yeah, he was ripping it up. Christopher Williams, Don't Wake Me, I'm Dreaming. Just jamming, man. My favorite song by Johnny Gill, which was done by my wife's cousin, Randy Rand, rest in peace. I'm Still Waiting, bro. That song, yo, that's my favorite song by Johnny Gill.
Really?
That's my.
Oh shit.
Yep. First cousin. There You Go, Keith Sweat. I Want to Sex You Up.
There, man.
Nobody had ever heard nothing like that. Color Me Bad. I Want to Sex You Up, and a song that nobody mentioned that, but I really, really liked it was Two Live Crews in the Dust. Boom, 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 boom. So let's talk about the movie. Iconic. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. I mean, just Tracy Campbell Johns. Rockabye Baby. So many quotables. It's definitely a classic, especially in our era. We were, what was that, like 90 what?
That's 90.
Okay,
90,
so
90.
yeah.
90,
so
yep.
90. Graduated high school, just started college. So yeah, it was like mood music or mood movie. So definitely New Jack City, and that's when you had to be at Blockbuster early on a Friday, because if you waited till you got off work, you was gonna have to rent The Color Purple or something.
Yo, you ain't never lied, man.
He ain't lying.
Yo, I used to hate my pop would get off work and we go to Blockbusters 8 o'clock on a Friday night. I'm like, ain't nothing in here, man. Everything cool. Everybody done rented everything, man.
Everything.
Like,
yeah.
oh, you gotta give me my own car so I can come over after school and get all the stuff, man. You know what I mean? For youngsters out there was a time when you couldn't just stream stuff. You had to go to Blockbusters, you had to rent the movie, you had to be kind and rewind. And remember, they used to actually try to find you if you ain't rewind the tape, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Crazy, man. One of my favorite lines.
I gotta go do your favorite line, because I got one.
Nah, I was just gonna say, money talks and bullshit runs the marathon, man. That's like one of my favorite quotes that I use today. I mean, just again, a classic movie, man. Classic movie. I mean, not to even mention the scene that Martin used up, that ended up using with the fake dog. I mean, like everything about was crazy, man. And that haircut is still one of the craziest haircuts in the history of music, man. But what I do love about that, Vernon, you brought this up for the dance show. You texted it to me, but the dance scenes from New Jack City. Yeah. You got Nino Brown, who was the biggest drug dealer in New York, and that nigga was out there doing the Kid and Play, dancing. You did that. It don't matter. I'm gonna dance and I'm gonna kill you, but I'm gonna get this dance off. Like we gonna do this, So yeah. You about to say something too, bro?
Yeah. Oh, this bigger than Nino Brown.
Yeah.
I love that scene because I quoted it a lot when we talk about other people that's about to get popped. And how they going?
There you go. I was just about to say you're gonna see the scene a lot in a minute in real life.
Oh, yes, we are. Yeah, and you know what? I gotta credit Guy's New Jack City was a very, very dope song. That, like when we in the pantheon of Guy music, we don't really. I don't think about that song, but yeah, they did their thing on that, man. So New Jack City.
I don't either, bro.
Very dope pick. Hey, what you got up next, bro?
I put all the shit behind me. I'm saying, where is it? It's over here.
There you go.
Purple Rain.
Forgot about that, man.
Man, I done watched this movie so many damn times. I done bought it on every damn thing. 2K, 4K, VHS, Betamax, all that shit. It's one of those movies is when you start it, you already get the feels with the music that's on there, like Let's Go Crazy and stuff like that. Probably what's my favorite off of this joint? Like, of course, a lot of people love Darling Nikki. I played that on EAA one time in the morning, and the phones were going crazy.
Say word, yo, wait. You get pause. How and when? Like, what show were you playing this on? Nothing comes on EAA's All Jazz in the mornings.
No. On before I left EAA in maybe 2004, I had another show on the station on Saturdays called The X Factor, and it was all about throwback music. So it was soul music, old school hip hop, old school dance hall.
And you played Darling Nikki?
One morning I was like, I'm gonna just go for it. Niggas was calling from the barbershop like, yo, you played Darling Nikki? Like, yep.
Yo, you a wild boy, man. But I like how you said before you left. That's a before you left situation to play, man.
Yeah, nobody really flinched. Even Sandy. Sandy was just kind of smiling like shit happened, so whatever.
Yo, that's crazy.
You remember in Shawshank Redemption when Andy played that song and he locked himself in it, playing it was an opera song or whatever. And they had to break the door down to get him in there. That's how you was doing that one.
Right.
I'm like, yo, Darling, you a wild boy, man.
Yeah, you can play that in a predominantly black city and not too many people gonna flinch.
That's true.
Because nobody really called up to hate on it. People were just like, yo, you playing this? Good looking. Like, it was whatever. But yeah, man, so many classic songs on there. When Doves Cry, my favorite is The Beautiful Ones. Like,
yeah,
the build of that record, the emotion, You know what I'm saying? The scene, you know what I'm saying, in the movie. So again, Purple Rain is just, I mean, it's even hard to describe. Like, I don't usually say you had to be there, but trust me when I tell you, kids, you had to be there. And I was a kid, but I felt everything in that movie, every lyric, every scene. Prince just never made another good movie after that. But it don't matter. We got Purple Rain, so
right.
Bro, let me tell you something.
I don't like it either.
Let me tell you something about Purple Rain. It's 83, 84, so I'm 9, 10. This movie is literally like, I didn't have a big brother. So this movie was my big brother. This was my introduction to anything, trying to talk to girls, sex, everything came down to this. Lake Minnetonka. I can't tell you how many times. I'm sure the tape and the VCR was rubbled up from me rewinding that 50 million times. I mean, I thought, and this is the crazy part, and I get how younger kids be like, yo, you like the boy Prince? Prince was like my idol in 84. Like, this dude, this dude is on a motorcycle. He's getting all the chicks. I mean, the nigga got Apollonia. Like, dog, I don't care what it was. So just that movie, I mean, all the music scenes, I Would Die For You, just everything about the movie is just perfect. Just an amazing movie, man. So I totally agree with that, man. 5 mic movie, 5 mic soundtrack.
I was in 7th grade, junior high school, Gary, Indiana. At lunch, if you pay a quarter, you could watch Purple Rain in the library.
Yo, I think that's worse than playing Darling Nikki or the goddamn.
Yo, that's 100 times worse. Because, bro, I would have had a whole. I would have been like, Mom, I need to go to the arcade. I need $2 in quarters. I'm gonna go to the arcade after school and be in the library all day. Like, the library tape of Lake Minnetonka would have been messed up. Everything, you don't need to have no kids with access to that movie during the day. Right, nah, I totally agree. But dope pick. JR, what you got up next, bro?
I'm gonna go with my favorite soundtrack. Period. I'm gonna go with Claudine. That movie, dope. The soundtrack goes with the movie. Everything just works. Shout out to Curtis Mayfield yet again. I think he was the Don King in the 70s when it came to soundtrack for real. This album is everything to me. To Be Invisible is when, the two sons are going to find Rupert and they're riding and they're just riding on the bike, and you just think about that and Make Yours a Happy Home, the ending of the movie when, once they get married and they walk in the street at the end. So everything kind of fits, you know what I'm saying? So it's the Welfare Man, On and On, when they in the spot and, they for the party and they all jamming and all that. And I think Curtis Mayfield did his thing on this, and this soundtrack just mean everything to me. So it's my favorite, and the movie is great with it. Shout out to, R.I.P. to Diane Carroll, R.I.P. to James Earl that just passed. So yeah, and I put up a clip when he, you know what I'm saying, and she's in the tub and he puts on the Makers of You, and he do like
about to say, JR, you cannot talk about that.
Oh no, I wasn't.
Not talk about the Makers of You. You can't do it.
He did a little jig before he put after the beat dropped, and yeah, just Gladys just sounds amazing on it, man. So yeah, soundtrack is number one for me. So yeah, no doubt, that's dope. Look, we're gonna go through and look at some of these black exploitation soundtracks because a lot of these joints people may not have heard of, they may never seen the movie. First up, we got Willie Dynamite by J.J. Johnson. Very dope joint right there. Next up, we got what JR just talked about, Claudine. You know what I mean? Right there. Next up, we got the legend, Aretha Franklin. Sparkle. We definitely gonna talk about this Sparkle. We're gonna talk about Let's Do It Again. You know what I mean? You gotta talk about one of my favorite soundtracks, The Mac by Willie Hutch, man. Yes. Willie Hutch right here. A movie a lot of people never saw, Gordon's War. You got this joint. You got Cool Breeze right here. So these some of the soundtracks I talked about in the beginning. We got Willie Hutch again with Foxy Brown, man. Foxy Brown, yeah.
Dope movie. You got Tough Guys with Isaac Hayes again. You know what I mean? We're going to keep on digging a little deep over here. We got what Vague already talked about with Superfly. You know, to me, this is the #1 black exploitation soundtrack ever for me right there. You back again with Isaac Hayes with Truck Turner. You know what I mean? You coming over here with, you got Isaac Hayes with Shaft. You cannot forget about Shaft's Big Score. You know what I mean? The sequel joint. Then you can't forget about Shaft in Africa. Can't forget about Shaft in Africa. You don't know about Shaft in Africa. And we still going. This is how many old black exploitation movies they used to have. Yo, The Soul of Nigga Charlie.
Nigga Charlie, yes. Oh, you got
Soul
that
of
on
Nigga Charlie.
What?
You got The Black Fist. You got Jerry Butler's Melinda. You got Pam Grier with Sheba Baby. You got Roy Ayers with Coffee.
Coffee, yeah.
Oh yeah.
You got The Impressions with Three the Hard Way.
Yes.
Yep.
You got Cleopatra Jones, Joe Simon. And we still going over here to the sideline. We still, man, I ain't realized how many joints this is. You got, now I am stunned. I'm not even
You are. You're stunned. Go ahead.
This is a show off. This is a show off time right now.
Yeah.
You got Shaft, but this is The Soul Man, produced by The Soul Man. You got Edwin Starr, Hell Up in Harlem.
Yeah.
You got The Education of Sonny Carson.
Oh,
You
wow.
got Cotton Comes to Harlem. You got The Dynamite Brothers, Charles Erlin. You got one of my favorite movies ever, The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh, right there.
Wow.
You got Bobby Womack with Across 110th Street.
Yeah.
That's what I was waiting.
So we still digging. We coming back with James Brown, Slaughter's Big Ripoff.
Yep.
You coming back with Black Caesar with James Brown.
Yeah.
You coming back with Together Brothers with Barry White. You coming back with Youngblood with War. You coming back with A Hero Ain't Nothing But a Sandwich.
Yeah.
You got Marvin Gaye with Trouble Man. And we still going over here, man. We still got more. We got Come Back Charleston Blue with Donny Hathaway.
Donny Hathaway and Quincy. Ah.
You got Cooley High.
Yeah.
You got Cornbread Earl and Me.
Yeah.
We got Burns joint right here, Car Wash with Rolls Royce. And we still going, B. We still got Ron O'Neal, Superfly TNT. Boys don't even know about the Superfly TNT joint. You got the Originator joint, Sweetback's Badass Song.
Yes.
You got The Hitter, a newer joint, Black Dynamite from the movie Black Dynamite.
Black Diamond.
You got this joint. This joint was supposed to come out back in the day. The soundtrack got shelved. Mad Dog's Hustle. And Mavis Staples, A Piece of the Action.
Yes.
So again, a rack of soundtracks. I'm sure I'm missing a rack too, but that's just how important the music was to the movie. The two went hand in hand. You didn't want to have a black movie without a black soundtrack. It was incomplete. You know what I mean? So before we dive back into ours, why do y'all think the soundtrack disappeared? Porsche, what do you think? You're muted too.
I don't actually know what happened, or even I don't even know when it kind of fell off, but I do know that at one point I was like, where's the soundtrack? And there was none. Like, it was like, well, it appeared in the movie and whatever. And then sometimes it would be like a whole other soundtrack and none of the songs were ever in the movie and they just called it the soundtrack. And you were like, what? I can't remember when I noticed that, to be honest, but I did definitely notice, and I don't really know why. I don't know why. Because I don't know if it was like a label thing, a business situation. Like, I don't know what the back end of it was to even, like just kind of chalk it up to that. But yeah, I'd be very curious to hear what the rest of the panel thinks, because I personally don't know. I just know that I definitely noticed, and it was definitely sad because you looked forward to watching the movie. You definitely looked forward to the soundtrack coming out after. And I remember like being like that. Soundtracks were always on my list. Like, I gotta go to HMV to get that, and that was something to look forward to. And then all of a sudden, it just wasn't a thing anymore. So I'm very curious to know what the rest of the group thinks.
I know for me, offhand, it felt like we stopped getting black movies. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like by the time like 2010 came around, we weren't really getting a lot of black movies like that anymore. You know, and without the black movie, we weren't getting the black soundtrack. Whereas in the 90s, it was like every black movie came out had a soundtrack. You know what I mean? So I think it kind of went hand in hand with just, you know, us not being able to make movies like that anymore. You know, in the 90s, we had John Singleton and it was Spike Lee. Like, those were the two heavy hitters. You had the Hughes brothers. Like, you had names who, like, you look forward to their movies. You know what I mean? Whereas I feel like by the 2000s, we kind of stopped having that. Spike was slowing down. You know, the Hughes brothers, I don't even know what they were doing next. You know, you still had F. Gary Gray, but he kind of was bigger than black movies sometimes. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Vern, what do you think?
Well, you kind of hit upon it. Music used to be big and movies used to be big. And both of those have gone by the wayside. I think streaming definitely has obliterated movie soundtracks and stuff. And then, I mean, I would say this too. Like Netflix and all these different platforms don't lend themselves, in my opinion, towards the big blockbuster-ish feel of movies and with a soundtrack to go hand in hand with it. And then if you add this to the equation, there's a guy who's a billionaire who puts out content 2, 3, 4 things a year, but there ain't no soundtrack to go with it because I guess he can't act, direct, do the wigs, and play the bass and the keyboards too. That's too much. So so that might be another reason why we don't.
Hey, look, Vern, you're not alone. I was just waiting for you to finish because I was
waiting.
Go ahead, baby.
I liked the way he presented it. I was like, okay.
I was going to go right there.
Well, Veg, there's your alley-oop, man. There's your alley-oop.
Yeah, I mean, when you said it felt like, you know, you named all these names, you think about all those movies that almost like a black film renaissance, and then you feel like it dropped off. But there was one black filmmaker who was making movies around that time where the soundtracks disappeared. Now, it's not his fault, right? But he was kind of the go-to guy, but he didn't have soundtracks with everything. Maybe with the joints he produced, but with his like Medea joints, they didn't really come with soundtracks. And I feel like it was sporadic once the 2010s came out, because like even RZA had, when he did that Kung Fu joint,
was
like
it Ghost Samurai Dog? Samurai
Ghost? The man with the iron fist kind of thing, and it had a soundtrack to it, and like Kanye had the joint White Dress on there, and somebody else, I think Ghost had a song. It was some joints on there, but the movie wasn't that great. But I think in general, I feel like I read about this or heard about this around the time that it was more of a business decision than it was about popularity, because I think it took more to make them, especially once the 90s and 2000s blew up, and you got different labels sometimes being involved with different artists and the splits and trying to make all that work. And I think it kind of went back to the one in-house producer thing, because Black Panther had a soundtrack that was nice, that went with the film, that kind of gave you that feel of back in the days. But to Vern's point, there was a time where the black movies we all named and we all prideful and proud of, and they had dope black soundtracks with all these artists. Tyler Perry didn't really do that, you know. For damn sure ain't paid for it, so.
Right. Nah, that's a great point. Gerald, what do you think, bro?
I'm with them. You know what I mean? I agree. I just think it was more business. You know what I mean? And then the last in the 90s for real. It was part of the business. You know what I mean? It made it, and these soundtracks made some of our artists in the 90s. They broke them. Yep. So it also helps. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of our artists was broke from these soundtracks. So I think it was more of a business move. It's like, oh, we don't need it. Just bring out the movie and we don't need the music. And just, again, shows how much the art of music is going down for real. So, yeah, I agree with all y'all for real.
Vern, you made a great point about the streaming, because I was thinking of the last soundtrack that I liked. If y'all remember The Harder They Fall off Netflix with Idris, that actually had a real dope soundtrack to it too. But I feel like the music is just like every other thing that comes out now. It comes out Friday, nobody's talking about it on Tuesday.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's almost just like to put the money, the budget, like you said, the splits and all that, to just have it come out on a Friday and nobody's talking about it 4 days later. It's kind of like, what's the point? You know what I mean? Yep. Because the Harder They Fall joint has some heavy hitters on there. You know, I want to say Jay-Z and D'Angelo had a song. What happened?
CeeLo Green had a dope song on that album.
Yeah, CeeLo had a dope song on there. I want to say Jay-Z and D'Angelo had a song on there. So it was some big people, and it kind of just came and went. You would, I mean, I want to double check on this because with the Jay-Z joint, but you would almost never think that there'd be a Jay-Z D'Angelo song and that shit wouldn't last for more than 48 hours. You know what I mean? But that's where we're living at. So like you said, Vern, even go through all the contractual stuff you got to go through to do this, to clear samples, to do all that, just to kind of disappear in 48 hours. It's almost like, what's the point? All right, Porsche, what you got next up for your joints?
My next one is Brown Sugar. I know people kind of...
I know my sister so well. I knew Brown Sugar was not getting... I'm shocked it got to round 3.
Yeah.
I'm shocked it even got this far.
Like, you know the line, you're the perfect verse over a tight beat? Like, listen, it's so cute and heart melting. I just love it.
I promise you, somehow you're going to find a way to put that into your wedding vow. Somehow. I don't know where it's going to be in the wedding, if it's in the invitation. 100%. I don't know where it is, but it's somewhere in there. I know that.
Oh, 100%. But anyways, I love that movie. I absolutely love it. And I think that, like JR said, like what I like about these soundtracks that we're naming here, and all of them are like, they predate sort of, you know, the 2010s, I want to say. And what I like about them is they're complementary to the movie. And what that means is, like, I don't know, like, culturally, if you guys are familiar, but like musicals, for example, and then other cultures that have, you know, a really big following of their movies, for example, like Bollywood, music that's incorporated in those movies are extensions of the dialogue and extensions of the movie itself. And you kind of need that to kind of give you a different depth of the movie as well. So it's like the feeling that you get, and it elicits emotion. And I feel like these soundtracks that we're naming do that. And specifically with Brown Sugar, I think it's, you know, I really get enamored by the love storylines in movies, of course, as you guys know. So for me, one of the exactly.
You do?
Yeah. So for me, like, when I'm listening to these, like, Love of My Life by Erykah Badu and Common, like, after, like, it's just an extension. Thanks, Vegas, for your face. Like, tone of
See, Porsche, everybody on the show will learn what tone of face means.
Yeah, that's what it means. But in any case, like, this is where these resonate with me, right? This is why this appears on my list. So a lot of times people will listen to that and be like, first of all, Brown Sugar was cheesy, it was corny, it was trash, and then the soundtrack wasn't good. But if you actually kind of take it as a package deal, it really brings that package together. And for me, that's really what it is. So yeah.
All right. I'm not mad at that. I knew that was getting picked. Next up for me, I'm gonna go with, where are we going with? I'm gonna go with, and I told T this and she was shocked. I'm going with Wait and Exhale. You know, And T was shocked because she was like, I didn't really think you liked the movie like that. And I'm like, I don't like the movie like that, but I would give it a 5 mic movie. I think Waiting to Exhale is a classic movie. It's not one of my favorite movies, but this is the difference between your favorite and what's a classic. I feel like it's a classic movie. I've watched it numerous times. I mean, in the soundtrack, I mean, come on, like this is like Babyface magnum opus. Like this is just Babyface. Like JR, you talking about me showing off with records? To me, that was just Babyface showing off. Like, yeah, you know, like if you thought there was another nigga who was close to me, like let me show you how far apart whoever you think is behind me is really that far behind me.
And that's when he left LA and Daryl. So it was like he was on his own. So he like, I'm gonna prove to y'all I can do this on my own. And god damn it, did he do it?
Yeah, because I mean, you show it off. I mean, you working, first of all, just with all the greats, just Whitney, Tony, Aretha, Brandy, Mary. I mean, that may be one of Mary's biggest songs. Like that was the song that took Mary from us to the world. You know what I mean? That song was an anthem for grown women. Like women my mother's age. That was their anthem. SWV, Patty's song. And then I love the fact that For Real's Love Will Be Waiting, I love that song. Like, and then it was like the girl Shauna, How Could You Call Her Baby? Again, just two new people who nobody had even heard of with all these heavy hitters. And those are two of my favorite songs on the album. So I think I think Face just went and put in work on that joint. Vern, what you got up next?
Let me see. I'm gonna go, I guess. Dang, it's a toss up. Boys in the Hood. So, How to Survive in South Central, Ice Cube. Just Ask Me, Tevin.
Just Ask Me. That is a very Yo, nobody ever talks about that song with Tevin Campbell, and that joint is crazy.
Yes, it is.
Yo, man.
I'm gonna go. Growing up in the hood, Compton's Most Wanted. Just a Friendly Game of Baseball. That was kind of a surprise because this album, this movie, ain't got no New York main source type sound to it, but that definitely was a joint on that album. Just Me and You, Tony, definitely. I remember that scene. It was right after football practice, and Ricky was running through whatever. So let me see. Work it out. The track was better than the song, if that makes sense. Moni Love had a song on there, Work It Out, and the track is dope. But I mean, the rap, It's Your Life Too Short. And then that song, you remember when Trey finally got with that? Take Six was singing. It's produced by Quincy. Timbro, I guess is how you pronounce it. And then another song that they played, Stanley Clarke did it, like high drama, like when the cops
joint with the saxophone.
Yeah. I don't know the name of that song. But
Game actually sampled it on I forgot what joint, but he actually killed this song called Ricky. Game got a song called Ricky, and he samples that saxophone part on it and kills it. It's actually a really dope song.
I think it's called Black on Black Crime.
That's what it's called. That's exactly what it's called. Yep. As far as the movie goes, man, come on, man. Boys in the Hood, that was to see that on wax. I mean, on film and see how life was lived in LA during that time, man. I mean, you know, got Furious Styles, Kicking Knowledge, you know, just, let me see, how can I describe it? It was something that we hadn't seen. So this was like, people don't understand, man. Hip hop wasn't seen on film like that. Back in the day. That came out, what, 90, yeah, another one. So if I'm mistaken, it's either this one or another movie that was similar to that. the girl I work with at Burger King, Tina Wimby, took her out to the movies. We were late. So we get to the theater. It's jam packed. So I paid for a freaking movie and I couldn't even sit next to her. I'm sitting in one area, she's sitting in the other. But that ain't had nothing to do with it. So yeah, Boys in the Hood is one that I picked.
Yeah, no doubt. And like Vern said, man, people now can't understand it, but to see Ice Cube on a big screen was like, that was huge, man. You know what I mean? Like, damn, like it's a rap in a movie, man. You know what I mean? So, and it's so funny because, you know, to hear West Coast people now talk about how the East Coast had no love for them, that's always crazy for me to hear because we emulated a lot of that shit. Mm-hmm. After Menace to Society with MC8, yo, you couldn't have anybody walking through Philly without sounding like 8 or Jid. Like, you know what I mean? Like, niggas drinking 40 ounces. I mean, I know niggas always been doing that, but when Ice Cube did it, it's just like 40 ounce sales had to triple. Like, you know what I mean? So it always kills me when, and I mean, I guess they wouldn't know, but for West Coast people watching, like, yo, the East Coast has always had love for everything that y'all was doing for the most part. You know what I mean? So, Vay, what you got up next, bro?
Sure did. Just a second that, you know, that movie theater was packed. And I was in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. Everybody was loving it. Ice Cube was like my hero, so I was already hyped. Even though I probably was too young to be in that motherfucker. But that was what it was back then. You take your kids, like, close your eyes. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, all right. For me, I'm basically mostly old school. I got The Wiz. Yeah. I mean, if you love that movie, you can listen to the soundtrack.
Damn right.
It just is hand in hand the way those things. Again, another movie where I bought on everything. Like, oh, yeah, I got 4K. Okay. Oh, you got 8K. Okay, give me that shit too. It doesn't matter. I need to keep watching it till I'm gone. Obviously, you know, Michael Jackson, You Can't Win. Crows singing the shit. Even the Crows was singing and dancing their ass off in the movie. You know what I'm saying? Nipsey Russell. Nipsey Russell. What would I do if I could feel? Like, I really felt that. Like, damn, I've seen The Wizard of Oz, and I know the Tin Man needs what he needs, but this shit different. Like, this, he has a relationship with a big ass metal wife and shit that was on top of him and shit. He be crying and shit, and then when he said it, like, what could I do if I could feel? You like, damn. What could he do? Like, you know what I'm saying? So for me, it's just, obviously there's a lot of nostalgia, and shout out to Quincy Jones, man.
Yes, again.
When I was younger, I just didn't realize. I knew he was in the film, but I didn't know how much he had his hands on the music and the scenes. And again, I say it all the time. I think I said it on the show before. Like the scene when they changing all the colors and it's fashion. There's so much black culture happening in that one moment, from fashion to dance to music, of course, choreography, just everything. And I love the movie because obviously there was a stage play before it. But I think they did an excellent job making that a very iconic movie, and, you know, just having powerful performances for most people, Diana. But I still love it regardless. So,
yeah, great movie. And it's also one of the movies that scared the living hell out of me, man, with that damn subway scene. Because that came out, I was 6 years old, and my school took us to see it. It was like, yo, I'm not catching the subway ever again in life. You screwed over so many kids with that subway scene, man, which was crazy. But nah, I feel you. Great movie, great soundtrack. R.I.P. Quincy Jones. JR, what you got up next, bro?
One of them that you showed, Cooley High. Yes. I love the movie, obviously, but the soundtrack, come on, man, that's just Motown up and down. So for me, that, and then you think about a lot of the scenes, like when they were, you know, in there in the what did they call the lounge that they would go to?
I don't know. That's like just Shirley's off of What's Happening. Like I don't know what they call that spot.
Because she always had the freaking butcher knife for preach.
Yeah.
Oh God, I forgot what it was called. But anyway, it's like they playing Smokey and the Miracles, and Mickey the Monkey in there, and you know what I mean. They playing Beachwood 4579 by the Marvelettes. Like it was just, and then that soundtrack was everything, man. You know what I mean. And then it's just Motown all up and through it, and obviously, when what's his name passed, and it's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. So. By G.C. Cameron.
Yeah, G.C. Cameron. Very dope.
So, yeah.
Very dope soundtrack.
I love that soundtrack from getting in the end. I just remember when my mom first showed me that movie, and I was just like, yo, all of this. She was like, yes, this is all the soundtrack, too. So,
yo, and the funny thing about this soundtrack, if I'm not mistaken, it's in order the way it is in the movie.
It is. It's like Baby Love.
Yeah, it starts with Baby Love, then Fingertips, I Can't Help Myself, Stop in the Name of Love, when he first saw the girl, saw Shorty, then Luther Blues, Dancing in the Street, Beachwood, Ooh Baby Baby,
Ooh Baby,
You Can Depend on Me, Cleo's Mood, Money, and then it ends with, Reach Out, I'll Be There by the Four Tops. So I never realized that before. That it literally, I wonder why more soundtracks didn't do that.
Levi Stubbs.
Yeah. The Wiz is
right. Wiz did that?
The soundtrack is like that. The sequence. Okay. I got a Vegas True Hollywood story real quick.
What you got?
It's not a story. It's just a fun fact. Cochise Lawrence Hilton Jacobs is family. You can't. You can see it a little bit in me, but if you saw my father and uncles, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, because we all kind of look the same." But I didn't know that because I saw Claudine and I saw these movies and nobody really said anything. And I'm gonna just be real because sometimes black families, people don't be fucking with each other. That's the reason why he wasn't around. Okay, he just didn't fuck with them, and I don't blame him. But I always looked at that as one of the inspirations for myself for getting out the hood is, there's somebody who I may not know him like that, but I'm tied to him like other people that kind of gave me inspiration to get out the hood. So shout out to him.
All right, no doubt. Coach Cheese, one of the hardest hitting deaths in the history of modern day cinema for me, man. So you cannot tell me that. Yo, the funny part was I was in Chicago and I was walking under some L tracks and I was like, man, Coach Cheese may have died right there. That's where Stone and Robert. You know what I mean? I remember being a shorty being like, man, if the train wasn't going over, they would have heard Coach Cheese. You would have heard Preach being like, help, but the train was going over. Like my little head, I can't remember. Maybe I was in 4th grade when I saw that movie. So that's like 8, 9, or 10, and it was just heartbreaking, man. So, and then to go from that and then to see Beat Street with Ramo die, like, dog, it was a whole nother problem. I don't know why they always letting people die in movies. I get it. You gotta teach young folk about death, but come on, man. Like, but neither here nor there. Great pick, man. JR, what you got? Oh, you just did Coolie High.
I went. Yeah.
Of course, what you got?
Well, you guys already named this, but I'm going to name it anyway. I got Juice. And I mean, Kill already mentioned the dopeness of the movie. And then, of course, like the soundtrack is dope as hell, too. Know the Ledge is also one of my favorite Rakim joints ever. It's so dope. And again, like just, I won't repeat it, but, whole package, once again. 5 mic movie to me, 5 mic soundtrack. I absolutely love it. So yeah, Juice.
Yeah, dope joint. Next show I got up is one of my favorite movies ever, Dead Presidents. I can watch this movie anytime, all day, every day, never get tired of it. Sly, If You Want Me to Stay, Isaac's Walk On By, James Brown, A Big Payback, Al Green, Tired of Being Alone, Isaac's Look of Love. Then, a lot of people didn't even know they had another sound, this too. They had Volume 1 and Volume 2. Volume 2 had The Impressions, Keep On Pushing, Undisputed Truth, Smiling Faces, Curtis's, sometimes the scene with Anthony, Smiling Faces, sometimes that's the scene where Kirby and Anthony's like, yo, maybe I could send for Baby Girl, and it's with Total, it's with Mace sample for the joint with him in Total. Tell me if you, whatever the name of that is, that Mace joint.
What you want?
Yeah, tell me, right, that joint. Again, just incredible soundtrack, incredible movie. And it's funny, I never used to really like the compilation soundtracks like this, but you know, I guess once I kind of got past that, it was kind of like, because I almost felt like it was cheating. Like y'all are taking the greatest songs and putting them on here, but at the end of the day, the soundtrack is still bananas. So I definitely got dead press for that. Bro, what you got up next, bro?
All right, I'm kind of at the bottom of my barrel, but I just found some new ones. I'm gonna go, since I said it, I'm gonna go with Car Wash. Rolls Royce did their thing, man. The title track, Car Wash, everybody knows that song. When the Fly was trying to get with old girl, I wanna get next to you.
Man, listen.
Yeah, man. If you gotta believe something, why not believe in me? When janky preacher Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
And was that the Pointer Sisters?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah,
it was.
Of course, I'm Going Down. I mean, that's classic. And then I was just listening. Anything I put on here, I listen to it first to refresh my mind. It's a song called "Doing What Comes Natural," and when it came on, it was like a snare drum. I'm like, yo, that's Spody Odie Dopalicious, man. That's where they got that from. I never would have thought that because until I listened to that. So I'm gonna say Car Wash, man, because as a movie, you had what, Franklin the Giant,
everybody. It was an all-star cast.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Richard Pryor, Pointer Sisters. Who's the big dude killed? What's his name?
Don't get me lying, man. I'm 50. Yeah. I can't remember what I eat.
But yeah. Man. So at that time, we did not see us on film, and so that was kind of an epic time to see us on film. And so Car Wash definitely is a classic film for me.
You know the funny thing, bro, when you talk about not seeing ourselves on the screen, I'll never forget. You remember that movie, The Brothers, with Shamar, D.L. Hughley, Morris Chestnut? Me, T, and my mom went to see that movie. And at the end, I'm like, yo, mom, how many mics you did that movie? She was like 5. I'm like, 5 mics for that? She was like, anytime I see black people on the screen, it's a 5 mic movie. like for that generation, like, yo, seeing people on the screen was something huge, you know, to the fact, like my mother said, if there's more than 3 black people in the movie, it is a 5 mic movie to me. Like, I don't even care if the acting sucks or whatever. It was something about seeing us. And the problem is now we see us all the time, so it really don't mean nothing. You know what I mean? But back then it really did. Vague, what you got up next, bro?
Next for me, I also had Boomerang for a lot of the same reasons y'all mentioned. You know, incredibly funny movie. Also seeing people of color in a different light and in realistic jobs that people own, right? Jobs that, you know, some of us didn't even know you could get, right? It's not a lawyer, doctor. They're like, you know, just marketing, you know, exec, basically. Along with other things, and, you know, introducing people like Chris Rock and stuff like that. Throwing Martin the alley-oop when he was starting to get hot. Like, it was just a perfect black movie about relationships. And they didn't really skimp and make it sappy, right? It was real. Like, you had a dude getting played. That didn't really happen like that. You had a dude getting played by a woman. She was the player. You know what I'm saying? He thought he was a player. Very dope movie, very dope ending. Obviously, it's a bunch of dope records on here. Probably my favorite is Give You My Heart. I listen to that almost every day.
I love that. Me too, man. I thought it was me. Okay.
Nah. Okay. If that record crossed my path, I'm like, I gotta hit play. Hold up. I gotta listen to it. I'll sing that shit from beginning to end. I'll run it back. I just love that record. And again, like, I don't think I said on here, maybe I said it offline, but there's something about these movies and the songs they ended with, right? Like, Boys in the Hood ending with How to Survive in South Central, and Black Panther ending with All the Stars. Like all of that felt good after watching a good movie, you know, especially at that time with black folk. And this soundtrack was just mean, man. I probably appreciate it more now than I did back then, you know, when I was listening to somebody else copy. So
yeah, man. And I mean, I know I spoke on this before, but even just Love Should Have Brought You Home last night, just everything felt good with this joint, man. You know what I mean? It felt like, again, you could tell Face was writing the songs to this movie. And I mean, that became an anthem. To me, that's what really did it with Tony. I mean, it was everything. It was the hair, the short hair at the time, and Halle having the short hair, Tony having the short hair. It was just like, again, a moment in time. This movie just captured everything. I mean, the bang, 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 and the, you know, just again, so many quotables, and you know, rapping getting old, and just stuff that you use everyday life. You know what I mean? So again, man, just Curbster. You know what I mean? I can't hear the name Kirby and not think of that. You know what I mean? So again, incredible movie, man. JR, what you got up left, man?
Well, the one that you put up, one of mine, of course, Sparkle. Man, oh God, again, going back to Curtis Mayfield on that one. Well, he really wanted Aretha's sister to do it, but Aretha was like, nah, son, you got these new girls that's out here right now. I got to compete with them. You know what I'm saying? Because during that time, Aretha had some duds, for real, after 73? Yeah, 74. She had a couple of duds. So she got Shaka she dealing with, Natalie Cole coming in, and Curtis was like, yo, I want to do it with your sister. She robbed it, but she did a thing on it, for real, because obviously the movie version is not what the hand, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, I mean, Aretha showed her complete ass. She went to church on that joint and just sang like she was at church, for real. And the movie is dope, you know what I mean? I don't know about the second one they came out with, but I'm like, whatever with it.
Yo, it's so much amazing stuff on here. Hooked on Your Love, man. That's probably my favorite joint on this. Hooked on Your Love.
Really? That's your favorite?
Yeah, it's probably my favorite. I mean, Jump, something you could feel, because, again, coming up in a jazz household, I didn't hear a lot of this. So the first time I really, really heard it was with In Vogue's cover.
In Vogue,
you know what I mean? But, once I started digging, like, very dope soundtrack. I want to say, JR, this is like back when we first met, because you did this versus the Claudine soundtrack.
Yes, I did.
And it was just like, and again, for Curtis to do Superfly, Sparkle, and Claudine, like, yo, y'all gotta put some respect
again.
You gotta put some respect on Curtis' name, man. You got to, man. That's just a crazy run-up. P, you got anything left, babe?
No, but I do want to say that I love how JR talks like he was like the road manager of everything. Like he just talks like he was taking them around and putting out fires and mediating beefs and all of this. And this is
your fault. This is your fault.
Like, JR, show us your DeLorean and let us join you.
Yeah.
You know how you be seeing pictures like, what's that old picture like? What's that like old picture where they had like dude looking like Jay-Z in the 20s? Like, you can find JR in little pictures everywhere throughout history. Just look for a red cup and them glasses. Somewhere, some way. Like, he done had an afro in this picture. He had a press, a perm in another picture. Like, this dude was there. Like, you know what I mean? He was in Aretha's ear. Like, girl, you better stop messing around. These young hoes coming for you, Aretha. Stop playing. Let's stop playing, Aretha.
I love that.
He ain't even calling her Aretha. It's like, Retha, stop playing with these little girls, Aretha. They coming for your neck.
I'm like, come on, Riri, you wilding right now.
They coming for your neck. The only thing I think that I got left on this. Now, here was the thing. I had a couple of joints that I didn't absolutely love the soundtrack, but they had a couple, at least 2 to 3 great songs on. Jason's Lyric. Love the movie, Jason's Lyric. Love it. Didn't love the soundtrack, but it has You Will Know by Black Men United, which is one of my favorite songs. That is one of those songs I could be in a horrible mood. If you play me, you will know. I am going to smile. It's right there with Optimistic by Sounds of Blackness. I love that song. And then Casey's version of If You Think You're Lonely Now. I felt like Casey went to work on that joint. So love that joint. Do the Right Thing. I didn't love the whole soundtrack, but I mean, Fight the Power, My Fantasy, and the Feel So Good joint, Perry. Love that joint. So there was that slept on ones that I had, the 5 Heartbeats. I absolutely love that soundtrack. You're talking about A Heart is a House. We haven't finished yet. Nights Like This, Stop Running Around, Nothing But Love. I Feel Like Going Home. Love that joint. And the last joint that I didn't even think about when T came home, she was like, what's the topic? And I told her, she was like, all right, I'm going to guess what you're going to pick. The first thing that she guessed, I didn't have down, but I do love the movie and the soundtrack, and it's Grease. Yo, I love Grease. You know what I mean? Like, I love Grease.
Okay. I thought we were staying with Black Sound.
No. JR, here's the funny thing. I told T I'm staying current because JR is going to handle everything from the 60s and the 70s. But I love Grease. I mean, that the one that I want. I love that. You know, that Tell Me More. Grease is the Word by Frankie Valli. Like, when Grease comes on, it's just an incredible. I love the movie. I love the soundtrack. I know as black folk, we don't really talk about Grease, but I love the shit, man. I won't hold you, man. That's one of my favorite movies, man. So, yeah, definitely had to throw Grease in there. Vern, you got anything left, bro?
Yeah. So you just brought up Grease, and something just dropped in my head. Saturday Night Fever, baby.
God damn it!
Hey, man. The Bee Gees, bro. Staying Alive. How Deep Is Your Love?
Bro, How Deep Is Your Love?
Night Fever. Yeah, Night Fever. More Than a Woman. Come on, man. If I can't have you, I don't want nobody, baby. The Fifth of Beethoven. That's when they were doing disco with orchestra arrangements.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what else. That's enough right there, man. And Jive Talking. You Should Be Dancing. Oh man, how could I forget that? So that the Bee Gees killed that soundtrack, bro.
Yo, here's a funny story. I've never seen that movie, but love the soundtrack. But I've never seen the movie.
I've never watched it all the way through. I've tried, and it's okay. Slept on honorable mentions. One of my favorite quirky movies of all time, Black. Have Plenty.
Yo, I'm not mad at that soundtrack either, bro.
I'm not mad at that. Years Away from Faith. What?
Bro,
I'm not mad at that soundtrack.
And I did not realize Trey Lee is on that soundtrack with Queen Pen.
Yep.
That's right. Oh.
Yep. And SWV and them killed that I Want to Be Where You Are, man.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
And then let me just throw in this one. This is my favorite movie. This is the story of my life. Moving from Gary to College Park. The Wood, baby.
Oh yeah, The Wood's great.
Yeah, man. Macking and hanging, all that stuff. So Outkast and Mystical had a joint, Neck of the Woods. Think About You, Black Street. The Roots had a joint on there. But the soundtrack wasn't as strong, but I tell you what brings it back in. I Want to Know with Joe. The Freaks Come Out at Night, Houdini. Make the Music with Your Mouth Biz. Back in the day with Ahmad. And then, yo, she just happened to like this song. If This World Was Mine, why don't you go on and get yourself a little dance? I could quote that movie forever, man. But yeah, If This World Were Mine, Luther. So The Wood, that's my final one, man.
All right, that's dope. Veg, you got anything left?
Yeah, I have one, and then I have some honorable mentions. I also had Above the Rim for all the things that Porsche mentioned. Dope movie, really grounded, around the whole street ball thing and the rucker, and classic scenes with Tupac. Classic scenes, even one scene that I don't know if it was supposed to be funny, but man, I rewind that shit so much when Marlon Wayans came through to the club. They tried to come to the VIP, and Tupac pushed Tupac pushed him to the ground. Oh my God, it was the way Marlon fell that just kind of got me. Bernie Mac scene in there was mad funny.
Yo, bro, when he was driving the joint, he was like, I said Paul. He's like, nigga, I ain't. He say the nigga Paul. He's like, okay. Pull over right now. I got you. I got you.
Right. Like the comedic timing was crazy, but the soundtrack was dope. You know, Death Row Records put that whole thing together. It had SWV's Anything Without the Woo,
which was crazy.
All Time Sake by Sweet Sable. Big Pimpin' by the Dog Pound. Yo, I love that beat. Like, that beat is crazy. I have the cassette that I bought back here. I just old man eyes. I couldn't see it. It was just too much shit. What else on here? Regulate, obviously. Pour Out a Little Liquor by Tupac. Afro Puffs by Lady of Rage was on there. I even like the Albie Shaw I'm Still in Love with You rendition or cover or whatever. Dog Pound for Life was dope, and like Kill said, I didn't even know because I didn't have Above the Rim on CD. I had it on cassette, so Pain was on it.
Right.
But that's one of Tupac's best songs. Like, you feel that right. You know what I'm saying? Like, big time. Honorable mentions that I didn't have. I had Mo Better Blues, or I didn't get to mention Mo Better Blues. I had Love Jones. I thought the Love and Basketball soundtrack was pretty dope. A lot of throwbacks. What I had Juice, the Best Man soundtrack. Prince Batman from 1989. I never thought that would sound good, but it did. Prince kind of pulled that off.
Scandalous is on there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. And Poetic Justice had a couple of joints on. They had a P. Rock and Seal
One in a Million, Funk for it, baby.
Right.
One in a Million.
Had a Pac record on there. The Dog Pound record is crazy though. Niggas don't give a fuck. Like, Corrupt's verse about getting jumped into a gang. One of the greatest verses ever. It just saw some storytelling, like visualizing it. It's just crazy with Snoop on the hook. Yeah, it was really only good for like a couple of songs. And I wasn't a big fan of the movie either. So, yeah. Soundtrack.
No doubt. Yeah, what you got left, bro?
I just got one because, I mean, y'all said all of them, but this one is The Big Chill.
Motown.
Yes. And my mom put me on it. This is one of her favorite movies, and this is one of the first movies she actually showed me. And it's like a movie where 15 friends got together, and after one of their friends passed, and they all lived in they all went into they rented like this home, and they all stayed in there. So you know, a lot of things came out about it, but the music they were playing, because they haven't seen each other in 15 years. So this is 83. We're going back to 67, 68. Right. So now you know that's all like Motown, freaking James Brown, Aretha. You know, you had all of that in there. So the movie is really, really good. It got what's her name? It got Kevin Kline in it. Glenn Close. What's her name? Glenn Close. William Hunt. Like, he's in it. It's really a good movie, and my mom loves that movie. So for her to show me that and that soundtrack as strong as it was, it kind of reminded me like a Cooley High soundtrack. So that was good. But all the others y'all kind of named, because I was gonna do The Wiz, I was gonna do that, but y'all named that Wait to Exhale. You did that, so all mine is out.
All right, no doubt. So prayerfully, people got the history on where the soundtracks came from, why we're not getting them anymore. And to be honest, I don't think it's ever going back, man. It's you know, it would be great to see again. And I think to maybe get it to come back, we may have to go back to one person doing a whole soundtrack. You know what I mean? That may be the best way, but the whole compilation and grabbing different people. But, you know, I do feel like my man that we talked about earlier, if Tyler Perry was like, went in the bag and was like, yo, Raphael, like, come up with a soundtrack for this movie, you know, I think that would be dope. You know what I mean? But I do think to get it back, we got to go back to one person, even if it would be like, yo, P Rock, make a Soul Survivor album. I just think it's something about just one person And if we're gonna do it like in the 5 heartbeats, if we're gonna do it, let's do it right. Like watch the movie, make music based around the movie, and kind of move forward with it from there. But again, like we don't get black movies like that anymore. You know what I mean? Like I
don't go to the movies no more. So I think that shit is almost sell, bro.
Right. Yeah, nah, you're 100% right. The other day, me and T wanted to go to the movies. It was like, it's nothing to see. Like, it's been like 3 months and there hasn't been anything good to see. It was like, let's just go see Smile 2, just to go to the movies. Like, and I can't remember the last time you could go 3-4 months and there's nothing good in the movies. And I mean, the only thing that looks like maybe good is this Gladiator joint with Denzel coming up. But outside that, I can't see anything else in 2024 dropping that's even really worth going to the movies for. And I guess getting these movies on Netflix, like we said, ain't really even worth the soundtrack. You know what I mean? So I guess we won't be getting it back. But let me ask you this, Vern, what have you been listening to this week? What has been, if we're jumping in your whip, what we hearing?
Man, I guess Cleo Soul, bro.
Now who's Cleo Soul?
Hold on. JL, help me out. Who is Cleo Soul? So she's a dope, just singer, just airy voice singer from the UK.
I got down on her with Soul, the group Soul.
So
she's in Soul.
Yeah, she's the one that's singing. That's her.
Oh, okay. Dope. Yeah, she got a.
She got a bunch of.
Oh yeah, she got a lot.
Okay.
Like Rose in the Dark was one of my favorites in 2020.
My favorite album is her album Gold. It came out in 23.
Oh yeah.
So many dope songs. And what I love about her stuff is positive, but it ain't knock you over the head. Like sometimes people don't feel India RE because it's like, you know, positive. So, but her stuff is just subtle. Just listen to the album Gold. But she got Gold, she got Heaven, Mother, Butterfly, Rose in the Dark. She got a lot of great music, man. And her stuff is real soothing and calming. And that's what I need to listen to. Is that real soothing stuff. So yeah, Cleo Soul, right. I guess, is what I've been listening to.
All right, I gotta tap into that. P, what you been banging this week?
Blue's album, Love the Omnious World. I love it. I have the vinyl as well, unopened. I don't open vinyls. I don't know if people know that, but I've been listening to it on streaming. I absolutely love it. Blue is just my 5 favorites, or my 5 current favorites have kept my 2024 just absolutely golden with the amount of drops that they've had and the quality that they put out. Like Blue's got a joint. If you haven't listened to that album, please listen to it. He's got joints, like it's produced by Exile. He's got joints with Crooked Eye, with Corrupt, with just a bunch of people. It's just so good. He is great. So that's what I'm listening to.
All right, Greg, what about you? What you banging, man?
I've been actually doing some homework, so I've been listening to De La Soul's discography. I have a interview coming up next week, I think. Yeah, next week with the author of the upcoming book, High and Rising. The author's name is Marcus J. Moore. He wrote for the Times and things like that. And I kind of know him because I kind of built a relationship with him, you know, working with BGO or whatever. But there was a point in time where I wasn't really checking for De La. But he was. So like reading this book is giving me insight into some of the albums, even the ones I heard. And I'm going to release obviously the interview and review with him. But I'm also working on like a tier list of De La's discography.
Sorry, y'all. I'm watching this Eagles game, so I just.
Oh yeah, we winning.
Shit just popped me for a second. Nigga just got popped. I'm like, oh shit, we can't get no fumble now. Nigga. Like, okay, we back. Okay,
right. But yeah, you know, I'm just trying to dig deeper in this De La Soul thing, so I can have some real questions for him and some of his takes on there. I'm taking the task as a journalist.
Now, is this an autobiography of De La, or is this like his relationship with the music?
It's a little bit of both, right?
Okay.
So he tells the story of De La as artists, somewhat as men also, but it parallels his own upbringing. Like, you know, for example, like 3 Feet High and Rising represented a personality that was his. So his personality wasn't like boisterous rappers like LL and stuff like that. He was more like De La. So he kind of, even though the majority of the book is about De La, he just draws the connections between his own feelings about the music, De La themselves, him coming to age. But there's a lot of interesting things about De La themselves that I personally didn't know, but I'm gonna just spoil, not the book, but as far as like how I feel, they were kind of haters on the low. You know, they kind of have a history of hating, and I didn't realize that when I was listening, right? Because you just listen, oh, I like this, blah blah blah. But from the first album, at least through Stakes is High, you know, they had a lot to say about hip hop and the other people, and it wasn't just the Stakes is High. They've been doing this since 3 Feet High and Rising, so it's interesting. It makes me appreciate the group even more, you know, now. So we'll see.
That's dope. And when does the book come out?
The next week, the 19th. That's next week.
I pre-ordered that in July. I just pulled out my receipt, and I'm like, I ordered that on freaking July 18th, and I'm still waiting. And I'm like sitting there going, Vegas has a copy. Like, when is it coming out? So,
yeah. And he signed it. I made him sign it too, because I was like, nah, Playboy, because if it's blow up, I need you to sign that. Shit going on eBay. I hope you know.
So you've been in your De La bag. Was there a specific album or just 3 Feet?
I started from the beginning. Like, I would read chapters, and you know, once I had a good feel of what he described, I would listen. So right now I'm listening to Balloon Mind State, which was an album I didn't really get to listen to like that until recent. But we'll see, because you know, it's a lot of dopeness, and I have a lot of opinions as a hip hop head, especially going through that catalog like that. So,
all right, that's what's up. That's what's up. JR, what you been banging, man?
Be My Fiasco, new EP. Loving it. Pretty Little Love.
You said Be My Fiasco?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's his name?
No, that's a her.
She part of the FE crew with Fonte
Okay.
and Nicolay and all that. She just came out with a new project. I love it. I also been rocking to Tevin Campbell's Back to the World album, for real.
Okay.
I think that album deserves a little bit more than what it got. I think that because I was listening to it and I was like, okay, now I can see why people didn't. I don't think people was ready for that image just yet. I think his 4th album should have been the 3rd, and then I think that album would have did fine. Back to the World would have did cool. What else am I been rocking? Drew Hill's debut for a lot of reasons.
Did something happen with Drew Hill?
No, we just no episode this Sunday is coming out with Vegas.
Okay, it's ready.
With
Okay.
Vegas doing he did the debut since the anniversary is Wednesday, so at least it's like we throwing it out this week. So yeah, so I've been rocking to that ever since I had to do the trailer and all that. I was just like, let me go back to it. And I was like, yeah, Vegas, we killed that episode, I must say. So we did. I was sitting there like every song while I'm listening to the album, I was like, yeah, we killed that. Especially when you was like one of the songs, you was like, yeah, if I was part of Optic, I'm part of the group. If I was singing in this motherfucker.
I am. I am a part of the group.
So that, and I think, what else I've been rocking? I've actually been rocking to my Daryl Simmons playlist.
Okay.
Like all the songs that he did for everybody and all of that. So that's really what I've been really rocking with, for real.
All right, that's what's up. I've been banging this Freddie Gibbs, man. You Only Die Once, man.
Oh my God, I want to start that. Everybody talking about that record.
I love Freddie, man. Like, I don't, and y'all know I hate skits, despise them, can't stand them. Freddie Gibbs, I love his skits. I don't skip them. I look forward to them. It started with Soul Sold Separately. Jesus is looking for him. Now on this album, the devil's looking for him because he's like, you know, strayed from the thing. You know, Freddie, I'm looking for you. I love Freddie Gibbs, man. I just think, I mean, I'm not talking about anything he does outside of hip hop. All I do is talk about the bars. Freddie is an amazing MC. What that nigga does with his girl, that's between him and his girl. What's up?
You mean
I was just thinking of another album I was playing, but go ahead.
What you gonna say, Matt?
the nickname the internet gave him, Freddie Gibbs?
Yeah, like, hey, man, whatever he does, man, hey, my thing is whatever makes you happy, you do that. If you can give me these albums, because between Soul Separately and this joint, Freddie is. I mean, he's always been on the run. I mean, the stuff with Madlib, and the thing that I love about Freddie is he can get with everybody. Like, he got that Madlib stuff, and Soul Separately sounds not like Pinata, and it's just, I love that. It's this dude that Naomi put me on to, Leon Thomas. That dude, have y'all heard of Leon Thomas? He's got a new album out called Mutt. I love it. Very dope album. So I've been banging that, and I'm still banging Stabbed and Shot 2, 38 Special, and Benny. So that's it. We coming up on the end of the year, y'all. We gotta do the top 5 show. What kind of year was this for music in 2024? So definitely get ready for that, y'all. Porsche, where can they get at you, sis?
Honestly, at this point, across all social platforms.
Now, y'all got to school me with this new one. I thought I was fucking cool. Obviously, I'm not cool enough. I did not get the invite to Blue Skies. I just woke up and everybody is leaving. So, where are you at now? What is this Blue Sky shit? Because I signed up for it. I mean, I ain't going.
I'm on it now, too. So, yeah.
What? I mean, I'm not doing, dog. I don't got enough time to even do on Twitter. But again, to promote the podcast, I have to just do some things I don't want to do. But I am not packing up leaving. That's just going to be my summer house. But so Blue Sky, it looks just like Twitter. So it's just Twitter that's by Elon Musk.
No, it's actually owned, as far as I know, and I'm sure everyone's going to correct me, but as far as I know, it's actually owned by the original owners of Twitter. So they restarted, and the interface is almost identical to how Twitter was when it first came out. So very like blocky and, likes and reposts and squares and not, like everything is just very old school Twitter like. And to be honest, it's so like not a crack house. Like I was on.
Oh, it'll become one. It'll become one.
I was thinking about how you're always like, this damn app is like a damn crack house, and I was like, Blue Sky at this point is not the crack house. So I like to be there. Do you know what I mean?
The funny thing to me, and it's because I used to hang out in a crack house. And the funny thing is that like here's the thing, I don't even mind the crack house because the crack house gives me ideas for this show. Like, that's the wonderful thing that I can say about the crack house is that
there's not enough hip hop conversations and dialogue. Like my first post on Blue Skies, and it's the only post I've really done besides my retweeting or reposting of Vegas's YouTube, but I said we need like the Punches and Mickey Facts and Crooked Eyes of the world to join here because they kind of get that conversation pieces going. So that hip hop element is missing. I do miss that, but I'm sure everyone will migrate from hip hop Twitter eventually.
So here's the thing: are you no longer on Twitter at all?
They've gone to rehab and they're coming, fresh and good and not bringing the crack house thing back. But yeah.
So are you off Twitter, period?
No, my Twitter is still, I have not deactivated, but I'm very rarely on Twitter. I just kind of peruse around, see what kind of shit you're stirring up, Kill, and then I head back to Blue Skies.
All right. No doubt. So what is your thing at Blue Skies so people can know?
All of my socials. So Cherchez La Porsche.
All right, no doubt. JR, are you on, are the R&B reps going too? I just need a memo before everybody move off the block. So...
Yeah. I'm trying to think of that what you call it, that Isaac Hayes' son got again.
Isaac Hayes' son got in Twitter. God, all right, we gotta slow down, y'all.
Something base. I forgot what it's called.
Yeah.
Something base that he got. And me and Brian Alexander Morgan was talking about it, and he was like, yeah, I'm about to leave Instagram. I'm about to leave Twitter. Well, Brian Ben left Twitter. He said he about to leave Instagram. because he was like, you know,
I don't believe black people leaving Instagram when I see it. Black niggas cannot stay off Instagram to save their fucking life. I retweet. The speed that people reply on Instagram is alarming to me. I will repost somebody's shit and bam, in 2.5. I'm like, goddamn, nigga, how are you on there that quick? Like, niggas ain't leaving Instagram. Niggas are not leaving Instagram. Niggas talk that shit with Mark Zuckerberg, like, I'm leaving Facebook. I'm banning Facebook. And it was like, you know, you got to ban Instagram too. It's like, ooh, I didn't know. Oh, well, he ain't that bad. Niggas ain't leaving no Instagram. That's one place niggas are not leaving is Instagram. Niggas will leave Twitter. Niggas ain't leaving Instagram. That is not happening. Y'all can talk all that shit all y'all want. Y'all are not leaving. Y'all are hooked on Instagram. It is not going nowhere. I will believe that when I see that. Nigga, please. Ain't nobody leaving Instagram. But where can they get at you, man?
Yeah, just go to R&B Raps on Instagram and Twitter, and JR's World of Soul on Instagram and Twitter. And the new episode will be out, the one we did with Drew Hill with Vegas. Dope episode. It's funny as hell. But yeah, so yeah, check that episode out. Yo, y'all share it to people. You know, if you really love R&B for real, follow us on, you know, the R&B Raps on everything. So yeah.
All right, Veg, where can they get at you, bro?
Not on Twitter.
God, you going to
realize that when
my
I was
channel is deactivated. I stand on business because I don't like y'all niggas anyway. So now about deactivation, if Elon Musk sold it, my account still exists.
Yes.
It's just not visible. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, for me, it was more so. The rule changes got a little excessive. Like, I don't block a bunch of people. I block Donald Trump. Now you telling me I gotta see him and all his people, and I don't really like. I don't really want a political timeline, right? Because when I joined Twitter in like 08, 09. All I did was talk sports, and then hip hop started to creep in, and I was promoting my stuff. But now, if I don't have a choice in what my timeline is.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about hip hop hot takes, you know, but I don't want to see people arguing politics. So I've been on Blue Sky because I think, to your point, Kill, is more so about promoting my content where people, different audiences are. So when I see all these people coming in, I'm like, oh shit, y'all here? Because for a minute it was just me. You know what I'm saying? But it's cool, and my tag is the same everywhere, so you don't have to join Blue Sky. The other place I really like, it was between Twitter and Instagram where I really like to spend time. So, you know, if you want to go to Blue Sky, I'm over there, but also I post a lot on Instagram, and I'm on everything else. So,
all right, no doubt. What do we? You got something new coming out? Well, you re-releasing something on streaming service? Yeah.
So back in 2015, me and the homie Ak, who went under the name McLovin Beats, worked on this album for like mad long, and the album was supposed to be like my version of America's Most Wanted and like Death Certificate. You know, two albums creatively that inspired me, even personally inspired me. So we worked on some things, and we put out like an EP teaser, which is out now. It's called Testers. It features like maybe 2 songs that's on the album that's going to also be on streaming services. But it also has other things like freestyles of me over the Shane beat. I think I told the story about what is it, Little Dirty Bastard? Was supposed to be on that record. A very dope, I must say, storytelling record called Happy Endings. You know, if you ever went and got a massage and all that, you already know what I'm talking about. But Testers is out right now on streaming platforms. Originally, it was only on my Bandcamp. And on Black Friday, we're going to put out the album called He Can Rap, I'll Sing, which is basically my ode to the Death Certificates and America's Most Wanted. But on Christmas Day, me and Kill whole discography gonna be on Spotify and Tidal and Apple. So when you're making your little streams and your little, you know, reels and shit, use our records, okay?
There you go.
Soundtracks, because I do.
Now, Porsche, I know you're an apartment 5B lawyer. At Blue Skies, can I play music?
Yes. Yes.
And I won't get suspended.
You won't get suspended at this point, but the terms and conditions, I'm sure, because there's been a mass addition of people and in the millions, I'm sure that this will be kind of regulated pretty quickly because they will be updating terms and conditions probably very frequently for the first little while as these masses come in. So yeah, as of now, yes, but that can change like literally any moment.
All right, cool. Vern, where can they get at you if you are looking and need help with a mortgage any and everywhere in the South? This is the man to get at, the closer. Where can they get at you, babe?
At Be the Loan Closer on Instagram, and I'm that dude who built my house, built my lawn. I ain't leaving. I don't have
I ain't leaving Twitter either. I ain't going nowhere.
I don't have the energy to start nothing new, man. Because I mean, I don't be really on that. I talk music and sports. You've never heard me mention anything political. I hear the stuff everybody's saying, and I have counterpoints to everything people are saying. But I'll just leave it at, because like, okay, yo, so if you're escaping from prison, do you put flyers up to where you're going to escape? Nah, you don't do that. But people are making this, I'm leaving Twitter like the freaking LeBron James the decision. Like, just go if you're gonna go, man. Stop talking to us about it. But that's just my rant, you know. And
wait, hold
I
up.
can say other stuff, but I'm gonna just leave it at that.
So when I jumped off Twitter, there's a bunch of people like saying like, "Yo,
Yes.
my lad."
Yes. Yeah. About the 15th, I can't take it no more. Because of this, that, and that. I'm like, okay, so you do know that anything that's big, if you scratch the surface, one level below, you're gonna find the same things you despise. Like, oh, I don't believe in him. So you're not going to Walmart no more. You're not going to Target no more. You're not using this no more. You're not using that no more, bro. It's
like I said, bro. Whatever help people sleep at night, man. That's what life is about. And at this age, bro, folk can go they want, trade in your Tesla, get a Maxima, do whatever you gotta do. Damn, I done pissed Porsche off. She done said fuck.
I guess so. I guess I got.
God damn, I ain't no Porsche, I had a Tesla. Y'all know what it is with me, Kill889, Twitter, IG. I did join Blue Sky. I'm not hanging the fuck out over there. I'm just promoting music. Twitter is my wheelhouse. I've been here 16 years. I ain't going nowhere. I will check y'all next week, good peoples.